Everybody was scared. We are all scared. I know that.
Gear down.
The gears were supposed to come down a few seconds, but that was the longest second. Because we were waiting for the greens to come on.
Take a long time.
It took a long time. It was a long few seconds until it went flat.
3 greens, sir.
I'm disconnecting the autopilot and landing manually, okay, Dex? Monitor my descent rate,
Is it in
altitude, and speed. Flaps 30.
Okay, 500 feet on course.
Stop 30 seconds.
Help me with the elevator when I say push. I want you to push.
Okay, 200 slightly left.
Correcting. Push.
100. 50. 30. Power off.
Your last command was pull.
Yeah. My last one was pull.
I made sure that the throttles were closed because he might give a go around and I would make sure that we would stay on the ground.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain speaking.
We'd like to thank you for your cooperation and your patience. Emergency crews are on their way. We'll try and get you out of here as soon as possible. Thank you.
The Philippine Airlines 747 is now a crime scene under Japanese jurisdiction. As investigators from the Okinawa Police Department set out to solve the mystery of what happened, they turned their attention first to the dead man in seat 26K. The forensic pathologist recovered 94 fragments embedded in Ikegami's buttocks by the explosion. He suffered severe internal injuries and massive loss of blood. But tragic as it was, the effects of the explosion could have been much worse.
横へ爆発すれば、
If the explosion had been sideways, it would have blown a hole in the plane
そこから
and caused an air pressure
気
problem.
圧がかかりますからね。そういう
In a sense, it was good that the blast was vertical.
でみんな
But we have to remember the victim. He died to save the rest of us.
Ikegami's body bore the brunt of the upward blast, but the explosion severed the steel cables in the ceiling that control the rudder and elevator. The charge also severed the co-pilot's control cable to the right aileron, one of the control surfaces on the wing which make an aircraft bank and turn. The downward force blew a hole in the floor and could have ignited the vapors in the center fuel tank, creating a catastrophic explosion. But by chance, on December the 11th, seat 26K was not located above the tank.
Fortunately for us, we took a different version, the SAS version of the 747 that day. And that specific seat for that version was 2 seats forward of the center tank.
The Okinawa forensic investigators immediately start work collecting evidence from the bomb site. They begin with the largest fragments of debris and then systematically work down until the smallest particles are retrieved by vacuum cleaner. Japanese investigators cannot identify the bomb's detonator. But by separating out bits of metal, plastic, and electrical wire that do not belong to the plane, components of the bomb are pieced together. One forensic investigator is able to identify the bomb's timer. By reconstituting dozens of burnt fragments, he discovers it's a modified digital wristwatch. Investigators also discover that one of the bomb's 9-volt batteries is only sold in the Philippines. It's another clue that suggests that the bomber could be based there. Philippine National Police Deputy Chief Sonny Raisin is on the case.
In the later part of 1994, we already started to receive information, intelligence reports that there were Middle Eastern personalities that were here already in the Philippines.
On the night of January the 6th, 1995, almost 4 weeks after the bombing of PAL 434, the Philippine police get a lucky break. In his Manila apartment, the PAL 434 bomber has enlisted the help of an accomplice to mass produce his new undetectable bomb. An attempt to burn off chemicals gets out of hand. Acrid-smelling smoke spills out of the apartment. By the time the firemen come, the smoke is gone, and they leave after a quick check. The bomber now realizes he's left a very sensitive item in the apartment, and he persuades his friend to retrieve his laptop.
He was too clever a guy to come back and expose himself, because all along he knew that that would be too risky for him to go back and be caught.
The bomber's fear of getting caught is justified. Once Police Inspector Ada Fariscal learns that they're from Pakistan, she insists on seeing their room for herself. The police in Manila are on high alert due to a planned visit by the Pope in a few days. What Inspector Fariscal finds confirms her worst fears about the intentions of the tenants. The shot distracts the apprentice and he trips over a fallen palm tree. But the cop discovers he has no handcuffs. The doorman improvises with the drawstrings of his windbreaker. In the meantime, the bomber vanishes. One of the first senior officers to arrive at his apartment is Sonny Raisin.
Incident at Doña Josefa apartment was the breakthrough in opening our eyes that the Al-Qaeda terrorist cell was already operating here in the Philippines.
The Philippine National Police know they've stumbled onto something big, and they inform Interpol, Scotland Yard, and the FBI. When news of the raid reaches the Joint Terrorism Task Force in New York, it immediately grabs the attention of FBI Special Agent Frank Pellegrino. For 2 years, he has been hunting a terrorist called Ramzi Youssef, and it looks as if this might be his man.
Well, he was always our focus since '93. I mean, at the time, that was he was the biggest fugitive around.
As Philippine police comb through the apartment, they begin to find more evidence tying Youssef to the bombing of PAL 434.
There was a similarity between the watches that were found in the apartment and the type of watch that was used in Okinawa. Putting together that watch, that was the watch that was on the bomb, on that flight 434, and identifying those pieces eventually as a Casio watch. It was amazing.
Youssef is a skilled forger. Investigators find several identification cards bearing various names, and photos in each of which he looks quite different. One ID card is of particular interest.
So, almost as a dig to us, the ID card used the First World Trade Center bombing date as the date that the card was issued. So we knew right away it was Joseph that had been in the apartment. They knew chemicals. The chemical dictionary was a very well used item, underlined, highlighted, well read, notations throughout the book. Something that he used quite often. And I don't remember the exact number. I think there might have been 100 latent prints found on that that belonged to him. He knew electronics. The way that the timing device was hidden inside Casio watch just made the whole thing very concealable and very worrisome.
The identification of the bomber of PAL 434 And the discovery of his bomb factory is very disturbing news for those responsible for airline passenger safety. Ramzi Youssef is an international terrorist who knows how to get his bombs past airport security. Bombs that are small, but if strategically located, can blow up a jumbo jet and kill not just one, but hundreds of people. And the bomber of PAL 434 is still on the loose.
Stay tuned to get a free CRISPR